your simple interest and compounded formula, your differential calculus, integral calculus are there, but it is not prescribed in your syllabus. Anyway, these are coming under mathematical techniques. And second category is statistical techniques, clear? And third one, that is operational techniques. Today we have to go into discuss statistical methods or statistical techniques. So first one, what is statistics actually? What is statistics? Remember, to do any survey or to do any investigation or to carry out any research, so what you do, we have to collect data. So we have to collect data. Data may be qualitative data, may be qualitative data. So when we collect data, then what we do? That is, we have to present the data in a systematic form, table. Then we have to analyze the data, and finally we have to interpret the data. So this is the basic meaning of statistics. I repeat again, when we go for any survey, when we go for any research, when we go for any investigation, so first one, we have certain basic objective, we have certain, we can say, objective of this investigation, and to make the objective, we can say, effective or successful, first step, we have to collect data. Then we have to classify the data. Then we have to present the data in suitable table form. Then we have to analyze the data. Then finally, we have to interpret the data and to justify, that is, through findings towards meeting the objectives of the survey. Remember, these are the basic things. When you conduct any survey, when you go for any investigation, when you go for any, we can say, research, automatically you should have a clear objective. Objective of a research, objective of the survey, objective of the, we can, investigation. So to, that is, find the solution of such objective, what we do? We have to collect the data. We have to present the data in the tabular form, that is presentation. Then we have to analyze the data, and finally we have to interpret the data. So the word statistics actually is a Latin word that is coming from the word status. Status means political state. But in the today's scenario, statistics, remember, I'll tell you one small sentence. You can remember. Statistics is the science which deals with collection, classification, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data or numerical data. This is called your statistics. So statistics deals with what? That is first one, collection of data. Second one, classification of data. Third one, you can say, presentation of the data in the table. And then next step is analysis of data, and finally interpretation of data. This is called your statistics. Again, I repeat, statistics is a science. It's a social science, not, you can say, natural science. Statistical is a social science in which the investigator has to collect the data, has to classify the data, has to present the data, has to analyze the data, and finally to interpret the data towards finding certain conclusions to address the objectives. This is called your statistics. Can anybody tell me what is statistics?
Sir,
Hello?
statistics is a social science where,
Yes.
where an investigator collects data, classify it, present it, analyze it, and interpret in order to find some objective.
You need to find certain, we can say, find certain facts to address the objectives. Clear?
Sir.
Thank you. Very good. Good. So this is called your statistics. So statistics really deals with the numerical data. First, we have certain project or certain research, certain investigation or certain survey. So to start with survey, first what we do, we have to collect the data, then collect the data according to the objective of the study. Then after collecting data, we have to make suitable groups or classify on the basis of certain criteria. Suppose age, height, weight, social status, marital status. These are all characteristics. These are all characteristics of a particular human being. Similarly, suppose in an organization, we can suppose now take for example NALCO, around 6,500 employees are there. Suppose employee can be classified on the basis of their number of experience, on the basis of their, we can say, area, whether professional, technical, or administrative, or marketing, or finance. That means, or on the basis of their age, on the basis of their income tax payment, on the basis of their marital status, many are there. So on the basis of certain characteristics, certain attributes, we have to classify the data. Then after classification, what to do? Our objective to find certain solutions of particular objective, of a particular research problem. So in such cases, we have to suitably present the data in the tabular form. Otherwise, it is very difficult to, we can say, go for further steps. After classification, next step is presentation of the data in appropriate table. Then after that is, if we present the data in the table, then automatically we can do some visual interpretation. So we can see what is the nature of the data set. Then after this presentation, next real statistics comes to analyze. So analysis means to find out certain basic characteristics of the entire data, to find out certain features of the data set. Then we have to interpret, find certain, we can say, insights, find certain, we can say, results of the data. Then after interpretation, what to do? We have to find certain results, and that results should address the objectives of the study. This is called our statistics. Simply, statistics is a social science which deals with collection, classification, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. So after that is getting an idea of statistics, then what are the, if you see, what are the features of statistics? First one, statistics is an aggregate of facts. Aggregate means is a totality. We cannot, that is called statistics of individual data. Statistics is a mass data. For example, suppose what is the income level of Odisha, or how many doctors are there in Odisha, like this. So here we have to find out. So that means statistics is aggregate of facts. Second one, that is statistics is affected to a marked extent by a multiplicity of causes. That means when you go for, we can say, take for example, suppose population status of Odisha. That is, when you go for population, what is the population? Let's say Odisha, we can say 5 crores, or like this. So then we can see the growth of population, the characteristics of the population, the income level of population, many are there. So in such cases, that means when there is a change in the data, we find it is multiplicity of causes. Another is, remember, statistics from the definition point of view, we can, that is, again I repeat, statistics is a type of social science which deals with what? Collection, classification, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. That means data must be numerically expressed. Data must be numerically expressed. Otherwise, we cannot call as statistics. So, aggregate of facts caused by multiplicity of causes, numerically expressed, and also sometimes what to do. Suppose here today, that is, if your census tells this is the population status of Odisha, this is the population status of India, then what is the growth? How to estimate? What is the population in 2027, 2028, like this for Indian economic, we can say, system. Similarly, for any marketing organization, today this is the sales status, product-wise sales, period-wise sales, area-wise sales. This is statistics. So, what is the growth trend? So, statistics also, that is brought into to summarize, or we can say do some estimation. So if we do not summarize, then we cannot go for further steps. So summarize, that is enumerated or estimated, is another feature of statistics. Next one, remember, while you go for collecting data, take for example, suppose say we have to see the family status of India. Suppose a village in Odisha. Suppose we have to select in Dhenkanal district, one Bhuvan is there. Bhuvan village, biggest, we can say, revenue village in Odisha, Bhuvan. Now, if you see, that is what is the suppose there are, we can say, 5,000 families are there in the particular village. 5,000 families, biggest village. So, how many number of children in a particular village, that is family? Then, in such cases, we should be very careful. Otherwise, we can, that means if the data is not valid, then wrong decision will be taken. So in such cases, we can say, we'll discuss in a very suitable in the coming classes. So here see, the data must be collected in a systematic manner. That means we have to design a questionnaire, or we have to design any type of collection techniques, so that the data which to be collected should be, we can say, appropriate. Otherwise, if the data from the very beginning is, we can say, have some kind of, we can say, inadequacy, or some kind of, we can say, error, or some some kind of deficiency are there, then we cannot proceed. So it should be collected in systematic manner. And remember, as I have already told you, for any research study, or any investigation, or any research study, or for any investigation, or for any survey, are fast. So why do you go for
ନେଟ୍ ନାହିଁ ଗଣିତ ପଢା ହଉଛି ବୋର୍ଡ ନାହିଁ କାଗଜ କଲମ
then and there we have to proceed. Finally, we have to see when you collect data, that is what to do. We have to screen the data, we have to edit the data, and we have to classify data, and finally we have to present the data. For example, suppose how many, we can say, districts are there in Odisha. Suppose 30 districts. What is the total area of each district? So we can say, we can classify. So that means we can present the data. That means that is in relation to each other. What is the area of Khordha state? Or we can say from 50,000 to 1 lakh per month, like this. Here we have to place the data. We have to present the data in relation to each other. These are the basic features. These are the basic features of statistics. To summarize, statistics has 7 features. First one, it is a summarized data. That means aggregate of facts. That means the statistical data must be marked extent by multitude of causes. Statistics is affected by a large variety of factors operating together. If we see Odisha, we can say the population growth, the income growth, the industrial growth, the education, health. If you take all that is simultaneously, then we call as the statistics. And all statistical data should not be qualitative in nature, it must be quantitative. That means it must be numerically expressed, and it must be enumerated or summarized or estimated, and it must be collected in a systematic manner, and it should have a predetermined purpose. And also, finally, we can say it must be presented in the tabular form, placing the data each other for facilitating, that is, analysis and interpretation. So I hope I have discussed in detail the features or characteristics of our statistics. Now see here, if you see what are the scope and area of statistics, that is, as statistics is a social science, it has, that is, it has, we can say, lot of scopes for use. Without statistics, we cannot. Even suppose any political, we can say statistics actually relating to the original meaning is state political state. So when we use, that means for any government decision or for any company decision or even a family, that means we have to rely upon statistics. That is, statistics and the government. Government uses statistics. Even suppose you can say Janta like this. Suppose Bharatiya Janata Party, they are using statistics. So what is the, you can say now in West Bengal, you can say election was going on. Now in such cases, for the total electoral number in the electoral poll, then how many ladies, how many gents, how many, that is, all are there. That means this is statistics. And statistics also has wide use in the economics. Widely, first one, it is widely used in government. Second one, it is used in the economic decisions. In economics, that is, it may be macroeconomics, it may be microeconomics. In the particularly macroeconomics, that is macroeconomics is, that means suppose your any you can say income status of the India, export policy, import policy, industrial policy. There are so many, we can say, monetary policy, fiscal policy, all economics, we can say, policies are based on statistics. So statistics and economics are closely related, like your government and statistics. Similarly, statistics, remember, any business, whether small or big, must have some activities, functions like purchase, like sales, like production, so many. So in such cases, that is, if we collect the data on sales, product-wise sales, area-wise sales, employees-wise sales, we can say salesman-wise sales, that is statistics. So business uses statistics in a large extent. Otherwise, a business cannot take right decision. So decision of a business solely depend on statistical data, numerical data. Next one, we can say statistics. Remember, nowadays, suppose after the MBA, if you go for PhD, doctorate level, automatically you have to find out what the area you have to, that is, go for research, like your marketing, like your finance, operation, IT, or any area. Suppose particularly in the business management area, in such cases, you have to use statistics. That means you have to collect the data, you have to present the data, you have to analyze the data, you have to interpret the data to meet the objectives of your study. This is called your application of statistics in various research. And another is, sometimes you may say, suppose your sometimes suppose weather forecasting based on statistics, astronomy, forecasting, mathematics, biology, computer science, education, we can say, or even common people, they are on statistics. Clear? That means statistics has variety, we can say, multiple uses in different, we can say, areas. Statistics used by government, Statistics used for, we can say, any economics. Statistics used in, we can say, any education system. Statistics used in business organization. Statistics used for research. Statistics used for, we can say, in biology, social, any issue. Suppose your political science or any research, all are there. These are the various scope of application of statistics. That means without statistics, we cannot make our any progress, whether it is a political state or economic status or education or any, we cannot grow. So we have to rely upon statistics. Now, next one we can say, what are the limitations of statistics? I will tell one small statement I will tell you. Try to understand the limitation of statistics. A blind man, my sentence like this, a blind man in the, we can say, dark night, that is, we can say, dark night, Amavasya like this, at 12 p.m. By putting one black glass, searching a black cat in house. Cat is there, but he is telling there is no cat. A blind man putting a black glass, searching a black cat in the midnight, telling that there is no cat. This is called statistics. That means statistics can prove or disprove anything. I repeat again, this is one of the limitations of statistics. Statistics can prove or disprove of anything. And statistics sometimes ignore individual items. Limitation of statistics considers the data which can only be expressed numerically. If some data, suppose Mr. X is a good personality, good behavior, good friendship, or we can say good human being, all are there. But these attributes cannot be expressed numerically. Please remember, statistics based on numerical data. The qualitative aspect of data is ignored. This is one of the limitations of our statistics. But if you go for any further research, you can see some measurement scales are also introduced to convert, to quantify quality data into numerical form. This is there. But in real sense, statistics ignores qualitative data. Statistics deals with numerical data. This is one of the limitations of our statistics. Another is statistical laws are true only on average. Statistical laws, statistical methods, statistical techniques are based on average. And it is, we can say, likely to be sometimes we can misuse the statistics, as I have told you. So these are the limitations of our statistics. Now, a question may be asked in your coming exam. What is statistics? What are the characteristics? Discuss the limitation of statistics. Anyway, this is called our, we can say, statistics. Now, what are the functions of statistics? So what are the applicability of statistics? What are the functions of statistics? First one, it simplifies and condenses mass data. That is, if I see what is the population of India, we can say, suppose 150 crores like this. That means, so if you say the population of India, automatically, when you say that is one fifth of the population of the whole world is an Indian. That means we can say that is, this is called your condensing data, simplifying and condensing data. And second, we can say function is statistics presents facts in a definite form. While we that is prepare tables to present data, then it is a systematic presentation of mass data. This is another function of statistics. Now another is that is, suppose say there are 30 districts in Odisha. Which district is economically, we can say, progressed? Suppose Keonjhar district there. It is totally, if you see, Keonjhar district full of mines. Suppose your Puri coastal districts are agriculture-based districts, or Sundargarh, etc., industrial-based districts. So in such cases, we can compare the economic status of each, we can say, district of Odisha. That means it can be done only through statistics. That means statistics facilitates comparison of, we can say, data set in a significant manner. Another is one thing, sometimes if you go for any research, I'll tell you something. So, can anybody tell me what is hypothesis? Any idea? What do you mean hypothesis? No idea. Anybody?
କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷକୁ ମାନେ
ହଁ।
blindly ଆପଣ ହଉଛି accept କରିବେ ତାକୁ ଇଏ କରିବେ prove କରିବେ wrong or right.
Hypothesis କହିଲେ is a tentative assumption which may or may not be true, and if it is a research hypothesis, that means it needs to be tested. That is called your, you can say, a hypothesis. Hypothesis is an assumption. Hypothesis is a presumption statement which is taken in our research study and needs to be tested. There are two types of hypotheses: null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. We'll discuss
So then
later.
what is postulates?
Which one?
What is postulates?
Postulates is also one, we can say, assumption based on certain principles. Postulate means one assumption. Suppose say hard work. Anybody who involved in the hard work, anybody who is high determination, anybody who is high willpower, definitely gets success. This is one example of postulate. So in statistics, what to do? Are you clear? Postulate
Yes, sir.
means some kind of principle that is tested through experience and brought into generalization term. That is called your postulates. So in actually very interesting, if you that is interact with me. So here statistics is used to testing hypothesis. Otherwise, we cannot test hypothesis. I will discuss in the last part of our discussion. You see, chapters are there. Probability and distributions are there. We'll see. There are different type of, we can say, hypothesis, null hypothesis, your alternative hypothesis. We have to test it, and finally, the testing result is used in a research study. That is, it can be done only through statistics. Similarly, that is when you go for formulating any policy. That is, it may be a government, it may be organization, or it may be DDC. Suppose you will see what is the student strength of DDC. Suppose in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this, and 6 different. Suppose you can say management, or you can say commerce, or you can say art subjects are there. Again, BBA or BCA, or you can say your MBA, all are there. If the DDC authority will collect the data, and on the basis of the data, it can formulate future policies, how to, that is, enhance the student strength, how to serve the that we can say various aspirants in providing right kind of education through online, through distance mode. That means formulation of policy is based on statistical data. Clear? Formulation of any policy is based on statistical data. Now next one, you can say, as I have already told you, forecasting. Forecast means determination in advance. We have to forecast. Statistics helps in forecasting the future events. That is, suppose sales forecast, production forecast, economic forecast, or any. So, or even weather forecast also. So, forecasting of any future event must be based on statistics, past statistics. Similarly, statistics helps in establishing relationship. For example, sales, profit, production, all are there. All are related. That means your sales status based on what? That is your production or purchasing, marketing policy, all are there, credit policy. So statistics, we can say, establish a relationship between or among different variables. Similarly, that means particularly that is in the research study, we have to use statistics, and finally we have to draw certain values conclusion from statistical analysis. That is, by analyzing the numerical data, we have to find certain conclusions, and that means this conclusion will address what objective. That means we can draw valid conclusions from statistical analysis. This is one of the function of statistics. Another is, that is, you see here, that is, sometimes we can say some uncertainty complexities are there in the data set. That means when we collect data, sometimes we may also collect wrong data, we may also collect invalid data, all are there. So what to do? Statistics helps us to reduce uncertainties and complexities. And finally, remember, you are a human being, I am a human being, and God has created each human being to create something. That means, remember, statistics is such a science which can give some kind of inputs to our brain to create new knowledge. So that means when we make our brain analytical, when you make our brain, we can say technical, or we can say others, so that we can draw certain findings, we can get some findings which is useful to the society. This is the result of statistics. Nowadays, without statistics, we cannot move, we cannot make our move further. So these are the scope that we can say functions of statistics. Now we have to really go to the statistics. As I have told you, statistics deals with what? Statistics is a social science. Statistics deals with collection, classification, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of statistical data for a particular purpose. This is called statistics. So first step is collection of data. Remember, data can be two types. One, primary data. Second one, secondary data. There are two types of data. So any participant, can you tell me what do you mean by primary data? Everybody aware. What is the primary data? Anybody? What is the primary data?
So this is a raw data collected at first level.
Okay. Primary, that the word primary. That means
So this is the first
yes, tell me. Correct.
first time data collected from the source.
Data will be collected for the first time and fresh in nature, raw. Nobody has used it before this. Suppose you are an investigator, you are a researcher, or you are a survey, conducting a survey. When you collect the data for the first time, for the purpose of your study, research, then it is called primary data. It is called primary data. So data which are collected for the first time, which is particularly raw in nature, and you have to collect by using certain, we can say, you have to collect by using certain, we can say, so you can collect from certain sources. So primary data can be collected by using certain instruments. There are different instruments. There are certain, we can say, techniques which are used to collect primary data for the first time. You assume yourself you are an investigator. If you suppose say we have to conduct a survey to minimize road accidents in Bhubaneswar particularly. Road accident in Bhubaneswar. What to do? We have some police authorities, we have some RTO authorities, we have some public, many are there. So what to do? To collect the data. First one, we have to, that is, do some personal, we can say, personal investigation. As a researcher, you have to do personal investigation to collect certain data. And similarly, to asking others, you can also collect some personal data. That is indirect oral investigation. And sometimes we can also through local correspondents or media authorities. If asked, we can get some, we can say, primary data. and some. But most important is nowadays you can collect data through questionnaire, through schedules. These are also instruments for collecting primary data. What is a questionnaire? You have to design a questionnaire, structure questionnaire containing 15-20 questions. Each question has some alternatives or some, we can say, multiple choice like this. So then you have to either collect the data directly from the respondents, or you can send to the mail nowadays at present. That is, you can say, mailed questionnaire, and you make a request to the respondents. Please take 5 minutes to answer my questionnaire and resend to me. This is another way to collect direct data or primary data. So there are various instruments, there are various ways one can collect primary data. So to sum up my discussion, primary data are collected for the first time by the investigator by using different techniques, and that data must be first time, that is first hand data. No, the data is first hand data or raw data. Nobody has collected earlier. Anyway, so next one, secondary data. What are the secondary data? Data already exists. Suppose you have to. Now my question is, say, how many? See, are you aware of the Sensex? Sensex. What is Sensex? Anybody? What is Sensex and what is Nifty? Hello.
Stock exchange. Stocks exchange को refer करूँ.
How many? Suppose Nifty. Nifty.
National level में से क्या?
Nifty under केतोटी company अछंती? 50 company. National Stock Exchange रो जो pricing आसुची, indexing आसुची, based on the performance of 50 companies. Nifty, National Stock Index of 50 companies. Am I clear? That is called your Nifty. Sensex is what? Bombay Stock Exchange रो. ता under अछंती 30टी. तेणु जो कंपनी गुड़ाक highly performed, the companies which are highly performed with respect to sales, with respect to, we can say, capital growth, with respect to all that is parameters, they will be listed in this list. And semanakara share price kon change hochi per hour, per day, per minute, per second, all will be that is analyzed through computer, and finally we have to determine the share price. That is called Nifty or Sensex. So now, why I am telling all this? That means if you collect the data from Sensex, if you collect data from Nifty companies, then already data is there. This is called your secondary data. So secondary data, that is are collected from one secondary sources. That is sources of, we can say, already some storage are there, some sources are also there, already data is available. Then you have to collect and use for your statistical, we can say, analysis. Now, one question I am telling you, suppose, say, if you that see the aluminum companies, performance of aluminum companies in India. What are the aluminum companies? Aluminum companies are there. Suppose some are in the public sector, some are in the private sector. Like your Nalco, like your, you can say, Balco, like your Hindalco or Jindal, all are there. They are producing what? Some are in the public sector, some are in the private sector. When you collect data, already they are in their books of accounts or in their annual reports. Then we call as secondary data. So now, secondary data, that is the sources are, you may personal visit to some workplace or some corporate office and collect data, or you can make some correspondence with the authorities to collect the data, to get the data, or sometimes we can say, if you be a member of a particular journal or periodicals, then automatically you can get the data from such published results of some periodicals or journals. So these are the, we can say, sources of collecting secondary data. It may be published source, or it may be, suppose if it's a published source, that means some reports, some official publications, some journals, some magazines, newspapers, even suppose say a business standard is there, economists, we can see economists are there. So that means in such cases, we can get, that is each day you find that is some data are published. If you collect data from newspapers, from magazines, from we can say journals, from reports, or we can say official publications, then these are known as your secondary data. Now we have to proceed towards further. First one, collection of data. Second one, classification of data. What is classification of data? Anybody? What is the classification data? Why you go for classifying data? Please, anybody? What do you mean the classification of data?
To maintain
But
the
it is
unit, we have
it is the
to
arrangement of data.
A classification means grouping or arrangement of data into various groups or categories of common character. That means total data to be grouped, to be subgrouped, to be, we can say, categorized on the basis of certain characteristics. For example, suppose in a village, 100 families are there. So now we can classify all the families on the basis of their income, on the basis of their sources of income, on the basis of their family status, on the basis of so many economic parameters. That means when we classify the entire data into subgroups on the basis of certain common characteristics, then we call as a classification. So classification of data is a process of arranging data into sequence and groups according to some common characteristics. I repeat again, common characteristics or common similarities on certain point. That common characteristics, common we can say similarities maybe is, sometimes you can say our Prime Minister Modi, that is telling that India is youth-driven country. That means major percentage of our population that is youth. Around 55 to 60% of Indian population is youth group. That means we can say that is the economic development of India is directly influenced by youth group. So that means we classify, suppose the entire population of India, suppose within 20 years, number of population below 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 and above. 80 and above. Even suppose say this present government also formulate some policy that is to pay some benefits to the person above 70 or above in Odisha. This government. That means we classify how many number of there above 70. Even our income tax department, they are also classifying, that is senior citizen and non-senior citizen like this. So this is called your what? This is called, we can say, that is the classification. Classification is nothing but the process of arranging the data, grouping the data, subgrouping the data, dividing the data on the basis of certain characteristics, on the basis of certain attributes, on the basis of certain, you can say, characteristics. This is called your classification of data. Classification of data. Thus, simply we can say classification is the process of what? Classification is the process of arranging or rearranging the data into common groups or classes according to their resemblances or similarities on certain point. That may be on certain aspects. That may be income, that may be age, that may be location, any like this. This is called our classification of data. Now, Next one we have to see here, when you go for classification of data. Now, what are the different types of classification of data? Types of classification. So maybe on the basis of qualitative basis, qualitative. What is qualitative? Basis of data, men and women, classification. Ladies and gents, classification. Or we can say healthy and not non-healthy. This is called your qualitative basis. Another is quantitative basis. When we link certain attributes, when you link some numbers to the data, when you express the data in the numerical, then we call it what? The numerical basis of classification. Example, you see below 20 years, more than 20 years and below 40 years, more than 40 years below 60 years. When we classify the data on the basis of our numbers, numerical facts, then we call as classification on the basis of, that is called your quantitative basis or numerical basis. Another is, sometimes also we classify the data on the chronological basis, periodic basis. Suppose say population of India after independence, suppose in 1960, 1970, 1980, if we go and classify data, like population of India, that is, we can say this is called your chronological classification. Similarly, sales performance of company, chronological, year-wise, or number of students obtain degree from DDC. Suppose say 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, like this. Now it is 2026. This is called your chronological classification. Another way we can classify, geographically we can say, classify the data. Suppose Hindustan Unilever Limited, this company. Hindustan Unilever Limited company, it is a multinational company. Suppose say if we, that is, classify the data, the sales performance of different states in India, that is sales in Odisha, sales in West Bengal, sales in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, or you can say UP, Andhra, all are there. If we classify the data on the basis of geographical location, then it is called your geographical basis. So data can be classified on the basis of quality, on the basis of quantity, on the basis of, we can say, geographical location, on the basis of chronological, periodic basis, location basis, or qualitative basis, or quantitative basis. This is called your classification of data. Next one. So we have to see tabulation. After, we can say, classification, what to do? We have to prepare, we have to present the data in a table form. That is called your textual presentation. So what is that? Means presentation of data in tables. We have to present the data in the tables. So there are different tables that we can use. But remember, while we present the data in a particular table, there must be certain rules of presentation. Otherwise, we cannot interpret, we cannot analyze in a very straight way. To make the analysis efficiently, we have to present data in a systematic manner. We have to present data in the systematic manner. So there are three types of presentation. Particularly, presentation means what? Putting the data in the table form, putting the data in the presentable form, putting the data in the graphic form. So there are different ways we can show the data, we can put the data after necessary classification. So there are three methods of presentation of statistical data. I repeat again, after necessary grouping, of data, the surveyor, the investigator or the researcher has to put the data in the presentable manner. Then this is called your presentation of statistical data. Presentation means it should be that is put in such a way it will facilitate analysis and interpretation. So there are three ways data can be presented. One, textual presentation. Second one, graphical presentation. Third one, tabular presentation. There are three different methods of presenting statistical data. Textual. In this method, the data are presented as a running text in a descriptive way. It becomes very difficult on the part of the investigator to comprehend the subject matter from the type of presentation. Textual form. Similarly, in the graphic presentation, it is visually attractive. If we present graphs, if we present data in the graphs, bar chart, line chart, or so many charts, bars are, diagrams are there. When we put the data in the diagrammatic form, graphic form, then it is highly visual, highly attractive. So far as visual presentation, visual we can say aspect is there. Next one, tabular presentation. This is important. So we have to put, that is, put the data, arrange the data in the tabular form. And remember, there are different parts of table. Now, this is one of the important, we can say, aspect that one MBA student should learn, how to present the data in the table. What are the different parts of a table? Remember, for each table, there must be 5 different parts. Each table should have 5 different parts. One, title part. Second one, stop. Third one, caption. Fourth one, body. Last one, footnote. I repeat again. There are 5 parts of a statistical table. First one, the title. This is shown at the top of the table and described in brief and concise form of content of the table. Prathama gote table gote title rahiba uchit. If there is no title, that is, it is not appropriate. There must be a appropriate title of the table. Second one, stop. In the extreme left hand column of the table containing the brief and self-explanatory description of the rows. Keun row re kon rahichi taku ame extreme am lekhiba. That is called your stop. Similarly, caption. The upper part of the table shows the brief description of vertical columns and sub columns. That is caption. And next one,
stop na kon?
stop, STUB, stop. ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଟେବୁଲର ବାମ ପଟେ କଣ ଲେଖିବା, କଣ କଣ ଅଛି, ତା ଷ୍ଟପ୍ କହନ୍ତି। ଷ୍ଟପ୍ ମନେକର 10ଟା ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର 10ଟା କଲେଜର ଆମେ ଡାଟା ନେବା, ବାମ ପଟେ ଲେଖିବା ନେମ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଦି କଲେଜ, ମହର୍ଷି କଲେଜ, ବିଜେପି କଲେଜ, ରମାଦେବୀ or we can say any college. ଏଇଟାକୁ stop ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଏ। Stop. Similarly, caption. The upper part of the table show the brief description of vertical କେଉଁ କଲମରେ କଣ ରହିବ, ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ତାକୁ ଦେଖାଉଛେ। Suppose say number of students of different college. Suppose +2, +3, BCom, BA, BSc, এই ଯଦି ଆମେ ଦବା এই ପ୍ରକାରକୁ ଆମେ କଣ କହୁଛୁ ନା caption. So next one, body. In the body part of the column, body part of the table, the arrangement of numerical figures according to the descriptive given in stops and captions. ଆମେ stop ଆଉ caption ରେ ଆମେ ଯାହା ଦେଇଛେ ତା ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମେ ସମସ୍ତ ଡାଟା ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ କରିବା ବଡିରେ। So title, stop, STUB, stop, caption, or otherwise you can say box head, then body, then last one, footnote. ଆମେ टेबुल बेले कम्प्लेक्सिटी थाए, से कम्प्लेक्सिटी को बुझिबा पई हमें तळे गोटे फुटनोट देई थाउ। फुटनोट, दैट इज कॉल्ड योर फुटनोट ऑफ द टेबल टू to make the we can say reader more understandable. So this is about our, that is we can say tabulation. Now, next one what to do in the coming class, directly I go to, that is statistical, we can say analysis, statistical analysis. So as per your syllabus, that is we have to analyze the data to diagnose specific characteristics of the data set. Remember, data set or statistical series meaning is same. After that is tabulating data, we have to prepare some series, maybe individual series or maybe frequency series, that we'll discuss. Then after we can say forming a series, we have to carry out some analysis, find out two common characteristics. One, that is central tendency characteristics. Second one, we can say your dispersion characteristics. Please remember, each data set has two basic fundamental characteristics. One, average characteristics. Second one, variation characteristics. One is average, second one variation. Average characteristics is measured through measures of central tendency, and the character of dispersion is measured through measures of dispersion. That we'll discuss tomorrow. Dear participants, only 18 participants are there. Those who are not attending classes, that means I should not tell negative things. So this is negligence in their part. Our statistic says those participants, those students who are not attending classes, either online or offline, they cannot get success in their career. This is a statistical result that we draw from our research. Any question, dear students? Hello? आज एति सरीगला काली काली मत मिस करबेनी आमे मु कवर कर दिबी दीटा then we go to next chapters. Within 10 classes I will make an attempt to cover all your syllabus, but your mental participation is must through online system. Thank you.